Hi, today we're talking about why we work by referral. There are agents who make different choices about how they're going to procure clients in this business. You probably don't know it, but as independent contractors, we are responsible for all of our business. And that's really across the board, no matter what broker you work for. We don't have a job. Brokers do not give us people to work with. We need people to come to us or we need to go to them. So we made a choice. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Mom.
Early in our career, you kind of pick a lane. People do different things different ways, but we're going to talk today about why it matters to you as our client or prospective client or a friend of a client of ours, why it matters that we don't have our pictures on bus benches and we work by referral instead. So we're going to talk about three main reasons: know, like, and trust, the NAR statistic, and freeing up resources. I'm Ruth Sheehan.
And I'm Danielle Tolley.
Thank heaven, Kathy says. So the first of our points today is know, like, and trust. It's an old marketing adage that people work with people that they know, like, and trust. So when a friend of yours introduces you to us, there's a level of trust that starts the conversation. You have an opportunity to get to know us through them as well as through us and what we do. Hopefully you like us. If you don't, it might not be.
How about this? If you don't like us, talk to us and we'll find somebody that will better suit you.
There you go. But also that know, like, and trust goes both ways. So if we're working with strangers, sometimes it takes a while to get to know them to the point where we can trust that we can spend our time wisely with them, that they're not going to abuse our trust with taking the information that we give them elsewhere. What are some other things, Danielle, that it comes in on the other side? I think people think about hiring somebody they know, like, and trust, but for us, it's really important on the client side as well.
Well, if we've already had experience, if we're friends with somebody or we've worked with somebody and helped them, we know their personality and we know how well they might take our advice or how well they, or kind of how they get the way things go. And if they refer us, then we, usually you hang out with like-minded people or people with a lot of the same personality and things like that. So we already kind of get to know you. We feel a little bit more comfortable with that. And we'll get into it later, but trusting, we put a lot of time into each of these houses, each of the showings, each of the listings. And if we can kind of already trust you, it makes us a lot happier and more apt to really, really dive in.
Yeah. And not like we would do something differently, but you just get further faster when you already start out with that. So when we get a warm introduction from someone who knows us and they say, oh, you have to meet my friend, that just gets us there a lot faster. It's kind of like, being introduced to a date.
Correct. Ruth's go-to.
It's just so similar.
Right.
Even though I haven't been on a date in 20 years.
You can still remember how it was. It's motivation to stay married.
But, when I met my husband, I knew his friends. And so when his friends said, oh, yeah, he's a great guy, and it came from them, that meant a lot more to me than trying to figure it out myself. Because goodness knows there were some times when I was a little bit wrong.
Absolutely.
So that introduction really matters on both sides, not just the client side. There's a statistic, I believe it's 85% that NAR says realtors spend, or most realtors spend 85% of their time looking for their next client.
National Association of Realtors. Hold on, I just wanted to.
Sorry, yes.
NAR. Got into this.
Always acronyms.
Yeah.
85% of their time, most realtors spend looking for their next client. We want to spend that time with the people who've already hired us. That's a lot of time to spend not working with clients.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that there is, and again, that's how they choose to work their business. So this is just, we're explaining ourselves, right? And so there are plenty of realtors. And in fact, Monica was one of them when she first became a realtor, where she was part of a team that they were 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time it was in the morning, they hit the phones and they did phone call and cold call after cold call for 4 hours a day. Or there's a similar one, door knocking, knock, 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 knock. It's great if it works for you. That's just not how we want, it's like the politicians, right? You hear the statistics about how, to get reelected, they're on the phone all the time instead of doing what they should be doing, which is what we think. What we should be doing is getting to know your market, getting to know our market, getting to know best practices. And that's what we do in the morning. Ruth and I often have morning phone calls. We talk about, we ideas off of each other, possible problems we're having or difficulties we're having, and we brainstorm that. We talk about things we've read, ideas that we've gotten from other realtors, and really trying to always hone in on being a better agent for our clients.
And you bring up a point too. When you work by referral, you have a lot less of a spirit of competition with other realtors. So those who are, those who think it's a numbers game, those who think that there is a finite amount of business and they need to go out and kill theirs, tend to kind of, have sharp elbows and keep other agents away from them. They might, steal your ideas or somehow get your people. And because we work with people that we know, like, and trust, and because they trust us, they're not going to go work with another realtor. We're never really very worried about that. So that gives us the opportunity to give and also get back from other great agents in our markets. So we spend a lot of time in conversations with other great realtors, both sharing what we see and observe and learn and know and hearing back from them. We also spend a lot of time in classes. We have tons and tons of classes taught by great realtors in our own company. We have classes available through our various associations. And so we're constantly learning to do better, learning what's new, learning, whether it's a cutting edge technology or just really it's very hard to understand how this market moves and the fact that it is constantly moving. We talk often about how people who are not in the business have a perception of how the market moves and tends to, I don't know which way my hand is going. Tends to seem like it's just, on a pretty even trajectory when it's more like an EKG screen. We can't possibly be in all of the places and with all of the people all of the time. So that collaboration with other agents is really important in keeping our finger on the pulse of the market.
Very much so, because I'm going to pat myself on the back just for a second, Ruth. But I think you'll remember about 2 weeks ago. Do you remember when I said to you, I think there's a change in our market? I'm seeing a little bit of a shift. I think it's happening. And then a week later, we were talking to there was another agent going, I think I'm seeing a little bit of a shift. And then just this week on one of our kind of more national groups, somebody's like, I'm starting to see a shift. And then a bunch of people were saying, yes, I'm starting to see just a little bit, not that, nationwide or anything, but it was just a little thing. And it really helped me solidify that, yes, what I was seeing, what I was sensing was correct. And then but I know I would not have known that if I was busy
If you
spending
were in
4 or 5
isolation, or if you only spoke to agents in an office where
only about how many leads you got.
Mm-hmm. And again with the walls up. So that's a really important thing that really comes out of our working by referral. And by the way, when we talk about that shift, that is something, we start to notice. We say, maybe we need to modify something. We talk about how we're going to change our strategies, but then we continue to watch because that shift might be a blip. It might have been Memorial Day weekend. It might be, suddenly everything's opening up and everybody went to the beach for a minute. So we don't know that that's a new trend in the market, but our conversations and our collaboration with other agents helps us understand that. It happens often, I would say, far too often. And usually this happens, we'll observe it when we have a listing. It can happen the other way around, but I think it's most often this way. We have a listing and somebody brings us an offer that indicates that they have no knowledge of what's happening in the market, right? And sometimes we find out that someone who maybe sold a house 6 months ago and probably, wasn't really, quite frankly, paying attention. That can be a real disservice to the people that they work with. Now, somebody could have sold a house 6 months ago and been paying very close attention. That can happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't. But it really takes that constant daily temperature check for us to best serve the people we work with.
Absolutely.
And then the last thing about working by referral and why it's important to our clients, not just to us, is that it frees up resources. So we talked about how much time it frees up for us. It also frees up the money that we might have to spend somewhere else. There's only so much money that comes in from every transaction, and much of it is allocated before we even see it. It goes to our broker, it goes to Uncle Sam. But most, again, this is something that people may not know about us. We not only are responsible for getting our own business, but we're also responsible for all of the costs of that business. One of those costs is any marketing that needs to be done. If your house is for sale, we need to advertise it and we need to get professional pictures taken. We do those fabulous videos that most agents don't, but we go above and beyond. And we recently looked at what our budget was for spending money on listings. It's quite high. It's much higher, I think, than probably most of our peers. But one of the reasons for that is we're not paying 30 or 40% to a lead generating company that sells us people's names and phone numbers. We're not paying
Dialing systems.
For dialing systems to interrupt you while you're trying to eat your dinner. We're not spending it on bus benches. Thank you, Kathy. We're not, there's a myriad of ways that people spend money to attract business to them. And then it's so expensive that they need to make sure that they get more and more and more and more to cover what they've already spent.
Right.
And all of that translates to less time to jump in when something goes sideways with a transaction. Who else who's part of a transaction can hold it together?
Right.
No
right.
one.
If a portion of their day, 50% of their day, 40% of the day, 80% of their day is trying to get new people, that leaves a lot less time for the clients they've already procured.
Yes.
We have a team. We do have a team. We have Monica and Tammy who do a great job with helping us here and there. But if you need to talk to Ruth or I, we will talk to you. We want to answer your questions. We want to make sure we're doing a thorough job explaining the step-by-steps of the buying and selling process, not, well, somebody showed us a house and then somebody, you're hiring that name that told you they sold X amount of houses on that billboard. And, you know, it really was just part of a big, I don't know, conglomerate of people, again, who just it's a numbers game.
Yeah. And then when we talk to you, and if there's an issue, we assess the problem and figure out whether there's a solution, and we jump in and we make it happen. We call everybody who's involved. We find out, you know, all the things that are part of it, and make sure that if there's any way that it can come together, that it does. A lot of deals fall apart because there isn't anyone to do that. So that's another huge thing about freeing up that time. Just hit on something and then, you know, I forgot completely.
That's okay. I don't know. I was going to wrap it up with this. So you can, if you have anything else, okay. I can. Okay. And I was going to say, and so the point I wanted to make, and this is, I think, the most important, so hopefully you're still here listening to this, of why we work for referral, is because that guarantees you're going to get the best of us. Because if it's a relationship, if we are trying to prove ourselves each and every part of the steps, that we want you to be so happy with your purchase and so happy with the way the house sold and the way it went, that you'll tell your best friends and family and coworkers about us, that is a benefit to you. That we're not going next. It's not transactional. It's not, okay, the check is signed. Great. Have a good life.
Exactly. If we have to count on our clients to refer us to our next clients, we'd better make darn sure they're happy. So there's always going to be something that doesn't work out. In some case, I've got, I think, 2 unhappy previous clients who don't refer anybody to me. But I think, we work really, really hard to make sure that we're successful in our mission, and that clients are very, very happy with the process and the results.
Yes. So, as always, if you're thinking, I am needing to get a house with a pool, or you have a friend who wants to make a move, in the near future, please have them call us, give us a call and reach out, or contact us through here, or whatever way, smoke signals,
whatever it takes. We answer everything unless it's foggy. So just to recap really quickly, the reason that us working by referral matters to you and your friends, not just to us, is that level of know, like, and trust. It's the fact that most agents spend 85% of their time looking for their next client, and we spend it with you instead. And it is that freeing up of resources, time, money, our staff, etc., that gets dedicated back to our clients and their smooth transactions, rather than advertising or paying for lead generation companies. So thank you so much, as usual, and we will see you next week on Putting the Real in Real Estate.
Take care.